so I'm acutely aware of those issues, but something caught my attention on Wednesday that I thought that I might talk to you guys about, and that's industrial relations. And that's quite a step away from homelessness, but bear with me, it'll all work out in the end. After repeatedly declaring that Work Choices was dead, buried and cremated, this week the Abbott government, with the assistance of course of your member and mine, Angus Taylor, made changes to the Fair Work Act. In the name of flexibility, individual flexibility arrangements are able to be used to remove overtime pay, penalty rates and leave loading. Yep, all back up for grabs with no protections in place if you end up worse off. And the best bit, if your employer, I'm going to do this, reasonably believes that they were not in the wrong and they were doing the right thing at the time, then that's the end of it. Too bad for you. I guess it's a bit like a Liberal member in the back of a Mercedes taking a $10,000 in a brown paper bag. They might have reasonably thought that they were doing the right thing, but at the end of the day, you know it's wrong. This to me is Work Choices by stealth. This got virtually no media attention over the past week, and I'm really surprised by that. It slipped straight through the House of Representatives and it's now in the Senate. We all know that this government has an enormous problem keeping promises, so why should we believe them when they say that Work Choices is dead, buried and cremated? Because clearly it isn't. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, guess what? It's probably a duck. This is the first step to the resurrection of Work Choices. Perhaps the most worrying element of this is the context in which these changes have been made. If this government has its way, a young person under 30 faces the prospect of accepting a job with lesser pay, lesser conditions, or lesser or no penalty rates, or face 6 months without any income at all, because guess what? They're not getting New Start either. So what do you think that young person will do? Are they going to accept that job, or are they going to face 6 months with no income? I know what I'd do. I hope that people see these changes for exactly what they are, work choices by stealth, on the back of a budget which unfairly targets the disadvantaged and the vulnerable in this community. These changes will push people below the poverty line, leaving them reliant on already overstretched charities, if they're lucky enough to be able to see one. There's increasing pressure on the public housing sector in New South Wales. The number of houses that are available to rent are declining, and the wait list is increasing by the day. A wait list that still sees people waiting years for suitable accommodation, and it's not good enough. We recently saw the sale of one property in Millers Point for $1.9 million. And I asked the New South Wales government, where is this money? Where is it? That could buy half a dozen houses for the needy in this district. Homelessness services are being closed, and homelessness amongst older Australians is on the rise. But according to our member, Prue Goward, Goulburn's very comfortable. Well, I suppose it is for someone that's just dropped $1.2 million on a brand new house. This community has voted for the Liberal Party over and over and over again, at both the state and a federal level. Angus Taylor and Prue Goward enjoy two of the safest seats you could possibly imagine. This community, and myself included, will not stand by and watch this unfair budget sticking it to families, sticking it to pensioners, sticking it to the disabled and sticking it to ordinary working Australians. We will not stand by and watch our electricity infrastructure be sold off for private profit. While we suffer increasing power prices, it's time for us as a community to send a clear message to Mike Baird, Prue Goward and the New South Wales Liberals that New South Wales stands more for just Newcastle, Sydney and Wollongong, and that the community of Goulburn will not be taken for granted any longer, and that anyone that does is electorally on very shaky ground. So when Ms Goward says, thanks, as she has, that she will have to fight the next election very hard, she better believe it. Thank you.